Hey, so I reviewed a deal this morning with a client. It's a good business, good historical data, but there's a few things that hadn't been taken into account. So I thought I'd make a quick video on this while it's fresh, because I thought that anyone listening may find it useful. Now, what this boils down to is profit and cash are not the same thing, and confusing the both can sometimes, well, a lot of the time, destroy something that could have been a good deal. And it's not the first time I've seen this. I see it quite often. And this is where using the wrong deal team, wrong advisors that don't factor in working capital. They assume revenue stays the same even after acquisition, and then you find that they don't tend to talk about cash timing. So on paper, the business looks like it makes a ton of money, but in reality, the cash can put you in a very bad place, and also very quickly as well. So the key thing that needs to be understood is a business can be profitable, but can still run out of cash. And this is why understanding the cash conversion cycle of a business is absolutely critical and a non-negotiable. So what you need to know is how quickly the business collects the cash, how long it takes to pay suppliers, whether the growth consumes the cash or releases it, and then also how seasonality impacts can impact cash flow. Because the moment you add new debt into the business, that's where everything changes. And this is where I see a lot of people get caught as well. So one thing that I want to be clear about is, look, the bank does not care if your customers paid you late, if the customer's going to pay you in 60 days. Either way, the bank wants their money every single month on time, no excuses. And this is where the debt service cover ratio comes in. So the DSCR, in simple terms, it pretty much answers one very important question, and that's, can the business actually service the debt from the cash flow? The formula is just the cash flow divided by debt payment. So if you're at 1, it means you can just about cover the debt and there's zero margin. If it's at 1.25, this gives you some breathing room. And if you're at 1.5 or above, that means you have a nice buffer and a nice safety net. So of course it does depend on the business model, because some companies can operate at a very low DSCR, but we tend to try and aim for around 1.5 as a minimum. That's because the debt service is a fixed cost, cash flow isn't, and lenders do want to see some protection, and they're just looking to mitigate as much risk as possible. Okay, so let me run you through a quick example. Okay, so you should be able to see, the calculator's on the screen. Okay, so let's say you're buying a business that's doing 200,000 EBITDA, and let's say you structure a deal where the annual debt payments are 133,000. Okay, so 200,000 divided by 133,000 gives us a debt service cover ratio of around 1.5. So on paper, it looks good. But this is where a lot of the time buyers stop, or if they don't have the right deal team or advisors, it can get, this is where it can start to go downhill. Okay. Because as I said, this is usually calculated annually. Okay. But the cash doesn't move annually. Cash moves monthly. So if we was to break this down, we have 200,000. So start this again, 200,000 divided by 12. So if we have an EBITDA of 200,000, that's around 16.7 a month. And then if our debt payments are 133,000, then our debt service is around just over 11 grand a month. Okay. So if we start to layer this in, right, let's say customers are paying in 45 or 60 days, payrolls paid weekly or monthly. We have VAT, taxes, maybe there's some inventory, maybe there's some seasonality. There could be just some general working capital swings. So you can easily have months where EBITDA could be 10,000, but those debt payments are still going to be around 11,000. So cash then starts to go backwards. So even though a deal does work on paper, you have to look at the debt service cover ratio on a monthly basis. You need to understand seasonality. You need to really stress test the cash flow and try to understand the cash conversion cycle as much as you possibly can, because profit tells you if the business looks good, but then you have to understand that cash is the difference in the business being able to survive post-acquisition once you inject that new debt into the business or not. So understand working capital, understand cash timing, the debt service, and then how all this sort of blends together and how it all interacts. Because if you don't understand those things, then you're not really underwriting the deal. You may as well go to Vegas and roll the dice, okay? Because either way, if you're going to put new debt into the business, the bank's still going to want their money, and you're still going to need to be paying those deferred payments to the seller as well. So look, guys, I hope this helps. Make sure you pick the right team. Make sure you have people that understand how these transactions work. And, it's good practice for you to learn this yourself as well.